On the offensive side, Ken Dorsey, never been a coordinator before. What's he going to do? Well, as Dick Vermeil said last month at his Hall of Fame enshrinement speech, I became a lot smarter coach when I got Marshall Faulk. Ken Dorsey becomes a lot smarter coordinator when he's got Josh Allen doing what he did last night.
The thing about the change in coordinators is that, Ken Dorsey, who has played the game and, who played the game obviously at a high level in college and who had several cups of coffee in the NFL, I think that really makes a quarterback a lot more comfortable when the guy who is helping you prepare for games and calling plays for games has been in your shoes. And, it's funny. There aren't a lot of coordinators right now, Mike. We've talked about this. Why don't more really good quarterbacks become coaches? Well, because they've got $150 million in the bank, and they don't want to go to work at 4:30 in the morning. But really, Ken Dorsey is a great example. Like there are managers in baseball who they say all the time, like Joe Girardi, and I mean, I could think of 20 more, but the backup catchers or like the catchers who have been in position to call games and to feel baseball games for a long period of time. It's just like the backup quarterback. Like of all these quarterbacks I've gotten to know over the years, I would love it if, for instance, Chase Daniel really gave coaching a good shot. I mean, he has been with so many teams and so many good play callers and quarterbacks and Drew Brees and Sean Payton. But anyway, my overriding point is that Ken Dorsey has been there. He has played this game. He understands what is going through Josh Allen's head. Brian Daboll was great at it, obviously. He's a great tutor of the position. But I do think there's something about having a guy who's been in your shoes before, calling those plays and making those decisions.
And it wasn't easy start to finish. It wasn't that Ken Dorsey was able to go on autopilot and just sit back and watch the offense, because that first half was frustrating, because there was a sense that they left points on the field. And to be tied 10-10 when you were the better team through 30 minutes, they had to make some adjustments at halftime. That's where Ken Dorsey is involved in working directly with Josh Allen and the offense to make the adjustments necessary to do what they did. After the defense did its job, stopped the Rams early, forced them to punt, touchdown by the Bills, another touchdown by the Bills. And when it got to 24-10, that's when I felt like the Rams weren't going to be able to erase that margin. Here's Josh Allen talking about the second half adjustments that the Bills made to turn 10-10 into 31-10.
I actually was happy at halftime. 3 turnovers and going in 10-10, 0-0, that gave us all the confidence in the world, our defense being able to back us up. And, we hurt ourselves a lot in that first half. There's a lot to learn from, but that second half, that's who we want to be, going out there and executing the way, we expect ourselves to execute. I thought Coach Dorsey, called a heck of a game. It's his first live, action. So I'm proud of him for handling the situations how he did. But again, we were 90% on third down. Like that's a recipe for success. And again, 4 turnovers, that's way too many. So we've got a lot to clean up. But like Vaughn said, we'll celebrate this one. It's hard to win in this league, especially against good teams, and that's a really good team we just played.
Allen completed 26 of 31 passes for 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 56 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown, 4 total TDs. And he set the Bills' regular season completion percentage record for a single game at 83.9%, career-high 10 straight completions to start the game. And that's the right attitude. You can go into halftime saying, it's just not our night. My God, we gave him the best punches we had, and we're tied. This isn't going to go our way. His attitude was, we're doing everything we want to do, and we had all these turnovers, and it's 0-0. Let's just keep doing what we do, and we're going to handle this, and that's exactly what they did.
The other thing about Josh Allen that you knew, I really like guys who he knows that all of the pressure, all of the focus is going to be on him. Okay? And look at his last 3 games that he's played, Mike. Okay? His last 3 games, he basically has he played the best game, arguably, that a quarterback ever played against Bill Belichick. Okay, in that divisional game last year, or in the wild card game last year. Then in Kansas City, he has another monster game, and obviously, were it not for the overtime rules, who knows who wins that game? And then last night, he turns it over 4 times, still puts up 31 points, completes 83%, and it should have been 86%. Because of the Isaiah McKenzie. It was right in his hands, and he handed it, away for an interception. But be that as it may, what this tells me about Josh Allen is not only does he not mind the big stage, he welcomes the big stage. He is better on the big stage than he is in all of these other games that he's going to play.
And that's an excellent point. And there's going to be a lot of big, exciting games. Yeah, and that was an example of the ultimate announcer's jinx, because they were going on and on about how he had completed all of his passes, and then boom, there's the pickoff. And then there was another one, but he shrugs it off. That's the key. You don't get so caught up in a mistake that it paralyzes you, or it deflates you. You find the positive in what's going on, and you just keep going. And it helps when you can run the ball, and it helps when you're willing to run the ball. There is a risk inherent to that. And in past years, I feel like the Bills have been more careful about him running the ball until they get to a single elimination setting. This year, who knows? But 10 carries for 56 yards. Peter, you mentioned earlier that the Bills were maybe going to restrain that a little bit. Again, he could get injured, but he's also pretty good at it. Here he is talking about the stiff arm that he applied to convert a key 3rd down in the second half.
3rd down, just trying to make a play for the team, just doing what I can do to try to get a 1st down. That's it. Guys appreciate that. I play hard. I want to win games no matter how I can do it. That's just, I guess, an example of, what I'm willing to do to win a game and just try to get a 1st down and allow us to keep moving the ball. So, it's just all in the heat of the moment, and, I think guys appreciate that.
Here's the risk of doing this in 2022, Peter. The officials are more aware and I think willing than ever to treat the quarterback who runs the ball like the running back and to afford no protection whatsoever. It's something defensive players have been complaining about for years, that the officials are quick with the flags, that the officials protect the quarterbacks who run too much. And my understanding is that ends this year, that you run the ball, you're a running back. So if that's going to be a big part of the game plan week in and week out, maybe it was just a big game week 1 thing. Maybe next week, Monday night against the Titans, we won't see it. I don't know. But quarterbacks who run this year, in theory, are going to be treated like running backs, as they always should have been treated. We'll see if that matches up. We'll see if there's a special cocoon in which Josh Allen is regarded. But that heightens the risk of running the ball into traffic as much as he did last night.
Mike, can I tell you one thing that I thought was a huge play in this game that I don't think anybody is going to talk about except me, the numbskull? But I thought that late in the 3rd quarter, when it's still very much a game, I think it's 17-10 at the time, and the Bills get the ball at their own 11, they're pinned back, and they get a false start. So now it's 1st and 15 at the 6. Okay, so it is totally set up for the Rams to have a sort of a game-changing series here. If you hold the Bills 3 and out and get them to punt from, say, the 12-yard line, all right, Now you're going to take over at your own 45, let's say, and now you have a chance in a fairly short field to get back in this game. What happened on first down? On first down, Josh Allen broke contain, got out of the pocket, ran for 8 yards. Now it's 2nd and 7. So you know what happens then? Then a running play, the next play, that gains 8 yards. All of a sudden, how demoralizing must it have been if you're Raheem Morris on that sideline? This is the turning point of the game. The Rams have got to be euphoric about this. And in 2 plays, 2 8-yard runs, in my opinion, that was the capper that lost the game. And again, if you go down and realize what happened, this became that touchdown drive that Josh Allen, basically stretched the ball over the goal line when he plowed into whoever it was at the goal line. And that, to me, was the biggest point of this game in the second half, because it showed that the Bills could do whatever they want whenever they wanted.
And that's what created the sense that the Rams just aren't going to be able to erase this deficit, because even if they drive down and score,
right,
how are you going to stop the Bills? Yeah, hey, maybe you may get a touchdown, but the Bills are moving at will, and that defense of the Rams was not able to slow them down at all. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.